This is a quick little movie review about the House of Spoils. Without giving away too many spoilers, basically the movie is about herbalism and witchcraft. The main character, she leaves her primary job that she's been working for 7 years, working up the ranks, and she was doing very well. But she decided to go out on a limb and start this new restaurant. She gets there having problems. She's trying to find the right recipe. They have like a tasting. She completely flopped. And she's going through like this metamorphosis. What it really reminds me of is like a butterfly, like out of a cocoon. The old house used to belong to a witch. I may have to give you some spoilers, honestly. I may have to. So she's having these different epiphanies. She's led to this garden. It belonged to the witch. The witch had a coven. She is led energetically to her apothecary, and she sees all of her notes, all of the herbs. And apothecaries and herbs, they have healing medicinal properties. This is one other thing that is missing in our culture, missing in our cooking. It's not just the spirit that we bring to our food that comes from passion, from creativity, from love and the craft that you do, but it also comes from the herbs, and those herbs, those spices that brings healing to the body and the mind. So it is a symbiotic relationship between the body, the herb, and the person that is using the herbs. So that is the craft, that is the witchcraft. So the witch, she had an entire apothecary, and she was leading the girl to put together these certain herbs and spices. She was inspired, she was led and guided, but she was willing to step out on a limb and experiment. It was also a scene where through her experimentation, some things were nasty and some things made her feel sick, but it was really cleaning out her system. But this is all symbolic. The thing about the food industry is made for taste. It's not made for healing. The purpose of your food is to heal your body. And that's another layer to this film, that it will take a certain person that they'll be able to recognize that. So your food should be healing your body. Yes, it could be good to the taste buds, but we are so, especially in America, you can research a lot of with the pharmaceuticals and the food industry, how they use drugs to get people to hooked on food, so that way they're constantly consuming food, and it links right directly to the pharmaceutical company. I know I'm going off on a tangent, it seems like, so this is not a traditional review, but you know that I have my latest book, The Bible's Hidden Divination of Magic. I go over some herbs there, also have PDF downloads, and the link in my bio to my Etsy. So she goes through this whole journey. Seems like she's failed. They even try to replace her. I am going to give spoilers. I'm just going to tell it. Okay, sorry. She's replaced. She's locked in this dungeon-like area, away from where everybody is taking her space. Everybody has got rid of all of her plans, everything. This is like the solo journey of the witch before she really breaks through to her power. So long story short, although I gave away so many spoilers, she comes in contact. So it's also a necromantic type of instance where she comes in contact with the woman's body, because she's trying to escape from being, when she was locked in underground. And she sees with the lady, her spirit. She sees like her inner self, with how the way she loved her garden, how the way she loved and healed people, and what the people did. So this ties into witch trials and the demonization of witches and warlocks, wizards, those that help to heal, the natural healers. And this was also a target for women too. So you have a woman that is my complexion, okay, and she's moving up the ranks in her field. She went into a transformation stage, coming out to become that butterfly, but she had to die within. If you look at the symbolism behind the movie, where she's underground, that's like her, she feels like she defeated, there's no way out, and that's like the cocoon, and she breaks free, because at the end of the movie, some people didn't understand the ending of the movie. So she comes out dirty, all lack of presentation. And you see her at the very beginning of the movie, everything has to be clean, pristine, like her plates are real clean, neat, measured out. But when she tapped into that spiritual, that witch part of her, she was led by the herbs, by the garden, by the wind blowing. And by the time she came back out, the rabbit came to her. An animal came and allowed itself to be sacrificed for the feast that was held that night. And she just went, and she was led by the spirit. Now, there was another man that was the chef that was there before, but he went crazy. Could have been because he was a man, but also too, he wasn't allowing himself to tap into the spiritual aspect of himself, the creative aspect of himself. Esoterically, the male represents the logic, and esoterically, the woman, the female, represents intuition. So when one is cooking from the inspiration, they're cooking from the heart. And so therefore, their spirit, their energy is infused into the food. I don't think that many people understand the reason why she started to see bugs. It wasn't because the property was haunted. It was because she was going through a spiritual awakening. When people experience a spiritual awakening with things that in hobbies, jobs, people, other interests that they had previously, they start to see the fallacies. They start to see the discrepancies with their current reality. They start to see things are like out of place, out of whack. People no longer resonate with them. The jobs, the hobbies that they used to have no longer resonate with them. They start to lose interest in the things that once gave them pleasure. No one else seen the bugs. She didn't see those bugs until she got there. And that place, that location, remember, was a coven. She was a witch all along. She probably came from a long line of witches, but for some reason she was separated from her gifts. When she came to that point, which was already a pinnacle in her life, she reached a certain level of success in her career, which also is a benchmarker typically for some type of awakening, or either sometimes it can be triggered by age, by a move in location, which was her case. She moved to a new location. It could be triggered by meeting someone. So when she started to cook, she started to see bugs, one here, a couple there. And as she continued on her awakening journey, as she was connecting to the property, connecting to her witch ancestry, she started to see more and more bugs. This is symbolic. But when she started to integrate and accept her place, accept her calling, she started to see less bugs and started to see more of the magic on the property and within her. Because when you start to step into your power, you have to go through the dark night of the soul, as they call it. And that was her going through the dark night of the soul, from her seeing the bugs, experiencing a crash out, from her underground, which is symbolic once again about the cocoon, and her busting through the soil, representing the butterfly, the awakened state. That's when she really tapped into her true power. Without giving too many details, you guys, go check out the movie.